We're tied up at the Dahabia Pier in Aswan. The boat's quiet. The other guests have left. We're waiting in the salon for our bags to go ashore and to say goodbye to the crew. This morning we have another temple to visit, Philae. We're at a small boat harbor on the reservoir of the Aswan Low Dam. From here we get a water taxi to Ajalkia Island, the current home of Philae Temple. This 1906 postcard shows the temple flooded by the reservoir created when the Aswan Low Dam was built in 1902. In 1960, UNESCO started a drive to save the monuments from the rising waters due to the completion of the High Aswan Dam. Included were Philae and several other temples, most notably Abu Simbel. In 1974, a large cofferdam was built around the temple complex. Remains of the cofferdam pilings mark the temple's original site. The building was dismantled into 40,000 units ranging from 2 to 25 tons. Today, Philae Temple is a major tourist attraction and a cultural gem. From the water, we see the pylons that mark this as an Egyptian temple. We hop off our water taxi and go forth to explore. Construction of the temple complex started with the 25th dynasty, around 700 BCE. Most of the surviving structures were built in the Ptolemaic period, 305 to 30 BCE. The first pylon shows Ptolemy VIII delivering the final blow to his enemies while Isis, Horus, and Hathor look on. Through the first pylon is the court of the Isis temple. It's flanked by 2 colonnades. The eastern one has 16 columns. On the western side of the inner courtyard is the Mamosai, or birth house, dedicated to the infant Horus. Through the second pylon, we enter the Temple of Isis. The reliefs in the Temple of Isis are some of the best preserved due to the deposits of silt. However, some have been defaced by Coptics when it became a Christian church. This has been a popular tourist attraction since the Roman times, so there's a lot of graffiti. Wings of Isis with the sun disk and 2 cobras is a common motif on the Temple of Isis. In the foreground is the Temple of Hathor. It was built by Ptolemy VI, who reigned from 180 to 145 BCE. Later pharaohs extended the temple. Hathor is depicted as a woman with cow's ears. The kiosk of Trajan once served as the main entrance to the complex from the river. The unfinished structure is attributed to Trajan, Roman emperor from 98 to 1170 CE, but the majority of the structure probably dates to the reign of Augustus, 27 BCE to 14 in the current era. Well, that wraps up our temple exploring for this trip. We catch a water taxi back to Aswan. We enjoy one last look at the Philae Temple complex. And we're back at the small boat harbor. Salah says there's a place nearby that you might find photogenic. He explains that when the pharaohs wanted a monument to stand the test of time, they turned to Aswan granite. Now, every year, the Ministry of Culture hosts the Aswan International Sculpture Symposium. Sculptors from all over the world are invited to come to Aswan, all expenses paid, for 6 weeks to work. Their art becomes the property of Egypt and is displayed here, in a quarry that has supplied granite to sculptors for over 3,000 years. Salah can't resist the Pharaoh's throne. And the view from the top is nice too. As the sun starts to get lower in the sky, Salah reminds us that we haven't checked into our hotel yet. We're staying at the Old Cataract Hotel. It's not very impressive from the entrance. The hotel was built by Thomas Cook and Son in 1899. The tour company needed a European-style hotel in Aswan when it introduced its steamship, which revolutionized tourism on the Nile. And we've arranged an upgrade for you, Salah tells us, to a suite. The lobby looks like Agatha Christie would be at home here. She wrote part of the Death on the Nile in this hotel. The bellman takes us down a long hallway, which looks like it hasn't changed much since 1900. We pass the Winston Churchill suite, another frequent guest back in the day. Finally, we get to our suite. There's a vestibule and then a hallway. And we are in our living room. And behind the TV is a dining table. Over the bed is a huge chandelier. The facilities have been updated since 1900, but they still look old, in a good way. We check out the dining room, but it looks a little too formal for us tonight. So we go to the lobby bistro for a great view of the Nile. After 5 days of very good Egyptian cuisine on the dahabia, it's time for an all-American cheeseburger with fries. And we enjoy watching the feluccas sail by on the Nile. We're up early on the Nile for a day of birding. I'm really glad that we didn't opt for one of these river cruisers. On the west bank of the Nile, opposite Aswan, is the Dome of the Wind. This necropolis was in use from the 4th dynasty through the Roman period. The First Cataract has many small islands and rock outcroppings that make an ideal habitat for water birds. This whole area has been designated a protected area. We hope for some migratory birds, but are happy with the resident bird life. Herons and egrets are very plentiful, especially black-headed herons. Often the black-headed herons are with little egrets. The little egrets like to roost in the boats moored along the shore. And some more heron species. The purple heron is a favorite of mine. It's a beautiful bird. Another very common shorebird here is the stilt. It's a beautiful day to be out on the water. And more shorebirds. Only one raptor today. This osprey was standing on a sandbar, pretending to be a duck. Two species of kingfisher in one picture. These two cats were on an island in the middle of the Nile. These ducks are interesting. The male has a yellow eye and the females have a dark eye. These tourist boats make good purchase for birds, like this crow. It wouldn't be Egypt without these geese. These thick-knee were on a rocky outcropping, hunting for insects and lizards. The beautiful dove is common in Africa. This is a new species for us. This is the female. The male is much more colorful. This is the mausoleum of the Aga Khan. Two related species of funny-looking birds. This is a wellness resort decorated in Nubian style. The great cormorant is one of the largest birds of that genus. It looks like the tourists have woken up, and the camels are all saddled up and ready for them. I think we'll be spending the rest of the day relaxing and catching up on all those pictures we've been taking. We're up early again today to go birding and back at the small boat harbor on Aswan Low Dam reservoir. Like yesterday, we'll take one of the water taxis to go look for birds. Philae Temple is beautiful in the golden morning light. The environment is different here from the First Cataract yesterday. With these bare rock islands, we should be seeing some different kinds of birds. For some of the usual suspects. A new kind of heron. This guy is a juvenile night heron. The rugged cliffs here are raptor territory. See some new water and shorebirds. The sun is just right on this ibis to show off its iridescent plumage. As we work our way along the shore, we see these hieroglyphics on the rock. When they were inscribed, the rocks were high above the waterline. A turtle dove is tucked into the scrubby vegetation. We head back toward Philae Temple. This is what this place looked like in 1838 from Beja Island. And here we are today. The gateway is at water level instead of high on the hill. The ancient Egyptians believed that Osiris was buried on this island, and only the priests were allowed to enter. Then we go back along the Aswan Low Dam, built in 1902. It was the largest masonry dam in the world. And we're back to the small boat harbor with all the water taxis. Then back to the Old Cataract Hotel to pack up and check out. And we're off to Aswan Airport. Today we're flying back to Cairo, where we'll spend the night at the hotel at the airport before heading to Jordan in the morning. It's been an amazing trip. We've seen a lot of temples, tombs, and pyramids, and learned a lot about ancient Egypt. If I had to single out a highlight for this trip, it would be the Dahabia cruise, a unique experience.